President Trump's address to Congress this week was met with conflicting responses from Colorado lawmakers. Republicans Cory Gardner and Scott Tipton praised Mr. Trump's stance on repairing the economy, job creation, and repealing the Affordable Care Act. Meanwhile, Democrats Diana Degette, Ed Perlmutter, and Michael Bennet noted that President Trump has proposed harmful and unrealistic immigration policies and has given promises but no real plans. Patty, the speech certainly was the headline after Tuesday night. It quickly lost that status as we got into Thursday and Friday. What were your overall impressions?
Well, I think we all can almost agree that no matter who is the president, we want him or her to do well for the country. And in some ways, the speech, the start of it on Tuesday night, I'm like, wow, this is what he should have said when he was inaugurated. If you really want to be the president for all the people, he struck a somewhat even-handed tone. I mean, it was a real surprise after the first 30 days, the first month of Trump in office. And then the headline, that headline might have lasted for about a minute, and then everything else starts coming out. We've got the fact that members of his administration seem incapable of, they either have no memory at all, like maybe there's something just wiping out their memory whenever they walk into the White House. They have no memory, or they are just flat out lying as often as they can, especially when it comes to Russia. That must have been some party in Cleveland at the Russian party for the Republican convention, because everyone seemed to be there and have a lot of conversations that they don't remember. Could have been the vodka, but whatever good Trump did with that speech, which was certainly the best of the speeches he's given if you're trying to be the president for all the people, it was wiped out, and now he's talking about witch hunts again. To be catching people in lies is not a witch hunt.
David, do you think the speech did much to rally congressional Republicans? We heard about that from various pundits, that with Republicans in Congress and the Senate that may have been nervous about how the first 30 days were going, this may have made them feel better. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And not only Republicans, but I think independents and really almost everybody across the board. It's like when you've got, you know, a friend who's got severe bipolar, and then they start taking their medication. It's like, wow, he was pretty mellow and even all day. This was great. Hope this keeps up, and for the country's sake, I hope it does. And hopefully it's a sign he's learned that his erratic thing was maybe exciting on the campaign trail, but people want a more dignified and temperate approach from a president. Of course, it was full of ridiculous, over-the-top, unkeepable promises, useless platitudes, very unrealistic, which in that regard makes him normal again, because we sure had a lot of that kind of stuff from the previous president and a lot of presidents before that.
Penn, do you think this one speech has the ability to reset what we've seen from the last 30 days?
No. Because the headlines the rest of the week were all about, as Patty pointed out, members of his cabinet lying, and then the administration trying to inoculate themselves by getting ahead of it, saying, oh, well, Jared Kushner and some other folks met with a bunch of Russians too. We can't remember the specifics, but a bunch of people are meeting with Russians. I think we've got to be careful about putting too much weight on this address. Because to David's point, and if you read most of the reviews, nobody's praising what he said because he didn't say anything specific. Everybody's praising the fact he didn't go ballistic on TV. He normally does something crazy. He didn't this time. So they're getting a better feeling, saying, well, maybe he can hold it together for 4 years. But you can't hold it together spending an hour and a half talking to the American people saying nothing. You know, sure, the Republicans are going to rally about a speech that says we want to improve the economy. We don't know how, but we want it better. We want to create more jobs. We don't know how, but we want it better. They're not going to replace all the coal mining jobs lost in West Virginia. And then the Affordable Care Act, I thought that was ridiculous, because the Republicans now know they can't agree on how to repeal and replace it because they're getting too much feedback from independents and Republican constituents saying you can't take away this. Now that we know the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same thing, we don't care what you call it, you can't just dismantle it. So no, I don't think it does a reset. I think it simply highlights the magnitude of the issues this administration has got to face, and they need to dig in and have some real concrete steps they're going to take to improve the country.
Natasha, let's go on that same point. Is too much being made from the speech?
I think so. You know, one of the things that I want to focus on is sort of the Colorado reaction to it. And Denver Business Journal did a great roundup this week of several politicos' reactions to the speech. And sort of midway through, you have Steve House, who is the state chairman for the Colorado Republican Committee, and he said that there was a, quote, clear path forward, particularly relating to health care, some border security, and taxes. What was amazing to me was that if you looked up on the page and down on the page, there was no clear path. He was the only one who really felt that there was a clear path. And that's where, you know, when we're talking about Affordable Care Act, when we're talking about border, immigration, all of these issues, I don't think that this speech gave us that moment of clarity. I think it gave us a different look at Trump, which could be a start of something new, but it's way too early to tell whether that's the case. And regardless, that sense of, okay, now this is where we go, just didn't happen.